They all wonder where my Oculus been. Observing serpents who walked away from their serpents, steady watching your sins. So now where does the apostle begin? Inside the churches, quoting verses, carry curses, making hostile men. Got demons in my soul, that's from all the gospel of fear. I came a long way from baggy jeans and rocking some Timbs with white tees on the sick and this is on the track, and since I'm rocking the air, I had things being clear. If you need force, if I wonder what if you go to force. And I still define me. I late to the celebration, elevation. This is pure rhyme mixed with just a bit of dedication. Man, I'm here to make history, but still I'm never forced. I'm in love forever, baby, it's over the horse. That's right, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, the 4th of July. Anytime you see the four horsemen together, it's something special. It's a special day. It's an event, if you would. The newspapers come around, the TV cameras cover it, because we're special. Because we control wrestling. We rule the world. True God, too hard. Tell me who the loudest be. Crown me as the realest. Now I'm reigning undeniably. Try to shut me down when you expect that I go quietly. Said the game is ours. Now we gain. I know the riot. The industry be watching, man. I lost all of my privacy. So I shine a light on them niggas. Start off the robbery. Ain't too many come out with me. Too many fake niggas getting drunk off of power. My brain lasting sobriety. Playing with my bitch now, singing some real shit. Knowledge through entertainment, I'm back on my Chappelle shit. Your bitch give me Saturday love on her Sherelle shit. Need a Marriott with them hoes, so fucking real shit. Limousine riding, jet flying down the villas here. Kids stealing, willing, dealing, baby, you can feel it here. Ride on space mountain, ladies, all you get a portion. These diamonds are forever, baby, and so are the horse. Always asking who the news. Had them figures taking off the masses like they moving to. Born in that era of Tully legend and very quick. Heard I was the greatest, but I was born with those very senses. Look beyond the madness. A savage on a quick escape. Nothing here is average. We moving, nigga, pick your pace. Faster, faster, everything is plastered on the wall. Writing chapters of relapse and going backwards. You recall? Should we stand in great fashion? Written action now is wrong. Favorite moments. Oh yeah, that's True God. True God, immortal in the house, my man True God, with Forever We Reign. You can find that on Eyes of the Ring, Volume 1, only on Spotify. Actually, I think it's on other platforms as well, but I'm just going to promote Spotify because that's where I listen. But what's up, everybody? My name is Jay Aletto, and thank you so much for joining me here on another episode of my random kind of on-again, off-again podcast. Whenever I decide to do it, I will be here doing it for each and every one of you people. I hope you're all well and having a grand old day, as I am. I'm very much in a great mood today. For whatever reason, I think I slept well or ate well or mixture of both. But tonight we're going to talk about some, interesting topics, including The Undertaker completely roasting the WWE locker room, the current product, the current locker room, how much things have changed. And the reason being that it's not his era. Like, he doesn't really get it. He doesn't understand the way the business is now in certain respects when it comes to, look, some of these wrestlers, they will play video games in the locker room or in their free time because guess what? Not only is it fun, it doesn't cause any real damage to people at all, but it also provides another income stream for all of the wrestlers today, right? So does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense to you? When you're playing video games, when you're a high-level pro wrestler, a high-level influencer with a lot of followers and a lot of credibility, you're going to have opportunity to make money in various ways that other people might not have. So, wrestlers are one genre
that take full advantage of making money playing video games. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I think that's where the disconnection is with The Undertaker in a sense, probably a little bit at least. So, but let's dig into it. Let's talk about it a little bit. Once again, my name is Jay Aletto. If you're watching me, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Please hit that like, subscribe, and share button to help the algorithms and help my channel. Because if you don't share it, no one's going to get it because I've been banned and warned, and I have all kinds of problems here on social media and on YouTube. So help a brother out if you can, if you want to. If you don't want to and you can't, that's all good to me. It doesn't really make a difference, but it will make a difference in a positive way. Anyway, let's get on with this. I want to just join you guys here for a few minutes and talk to you about this Undertaker story, and we're just going to jump right back into it. And there he is. There's the Undertaker. So we're going to zoom out a little bit. We're here on Wrestling Inc. The Undertaker says the current WWE product is a little soft. Well, I think many of us can agree with that in various ways. Might not be in the same way Undertaker's referring to, but growing up in the era I grew up in, I'm 36 now, so I started watching wrestling in the 80s, and I watched throughout the entire 90s and stuff. It's a different business, that's for sure. And let's see what this quote is, and we'll talk about it. So, as a guest on the Joe Rogan Experience exclusively on Spotify, The Undertaker talked about his career with the WWE and the current product. Taker mentioned the issues he has with the current product when Rogan asked him if he still follows wrestling nowadays. The Undertaker said it's not something he enjoys to watch because of the way the product has changed over the years. And in my best Undertaker voice, I try. It's tough right now for me, Taker said. The product has changed so much, it's kind of off. I can't do it. I'll probably piss a lot of people off, but they need to hear it. It is what it is. To the young guys who think he's a bitter old guy, I'm not bitter. I did my time. I walked away, and I wanted to walk away. I just think the product is a little soft. There's guys here and there that have an edge to them, but there's too much pretty and not enough substance, I think, right now. So one of the big things that had, just to continue the quote, one of the big things that happened was that generation before, we all got old at the same time, so there weren't enough guys to work with the young guys, The Undertaker said. You can listen to the fans on the internet, or you can listen to someone who's been there and done it. There was just not enough of the merging of young and new talent. He has a great point there. He has a fantastic point because during that time period in 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002, when many of these top tier Attitude Era wrestlers are starting to fade away, I'm talking about Mick Foley started to wind down. Stone Cold Steve Austin started to wind down. The Rock started to wind down. Those were three of your main event stars just a few years ago. WWE had the same problem in the early 2010s when they lost Shawn Michaels, they lost Batista, they lost Edge, they ended up losing a bunch of other guys. It was a big mess for the WWE. I mean, Jericho left for a while. He left WWE for a little bit, It was quite frankly a mess at various points in the company's history. In 1994, Hulk Hogan left. So they've had adversity. So was it 94 or 93 when Hogan left? 94, right? It was 93. 93. I'm sorry, 93 was when he left. Excuse me. Man, that monster tasted kind of gross. It almost tasted like that monster almost tasted like a Bang energy drink got like on top, got poured on top of the can or something. That was gnarly. Yeah, it tastes fucking. Anyway, that tastes strange. Excuse me. So back at it. Let's talk more about this. So one of the big things, we got Whoopi Goldberg. Nobody wants to see that. One of the big things that happened was a generation before, blah, blah, blah. He talks about that. We had Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. We were all working together, and then we all aged out. We aged out and it left all these young guys to learn with more young guys, and the product changed. Boom. There's nothing wrong with what he's saying. There's nothing wrong with what he's saying. So I had no problem with Undertaker's quote from the Joe Rogan Experience. Not a single problem with it. Not at all. Not even in the least bit. No problems here. However, I did have a problem with the overreaction by some people in the internet wrestling community, as we call them. The problem, all right, the time to time problem with the IWC is overreactions to things that aren't really that serious. And in this case, they're reacting to something that's not really that serious. It really isn't. Excuse me about that. Sorry. Also use my cell phone here at the same time. I'm going to fire up a TikTok, because what better way to get subscribers than go on TikTok where everybody's at. So this, let me just say something real quick before I continue. This Monster Energy drink is really kind of creeping me out, because like it doesn't, it's supposed to be the lemonade kind. It doesn't taste like it. It tastes like it's a different flavor. It tastes like a freaking Bang energy drink, like one of those fancy like raspberry flavors. That's what it tastes like. And it shouldn't taste like that. I might have to toss that, dude. I hate wasting that, but I might have to throw it out. Anyway. So I didn't really have a problem with this, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway. Just because, it was an over exaggeration. So here's a buddy of mine. I mean, maybe he's a buddy. I don't even know if he's a buddy. I don't know if I can call Sean Ross Sapp a buddy. I think I can. Always been cool. I don't think we've had any major issues at all, and just a few, I guess, disagreements or whatever over the years. But so Sean Ross Sapp says, shocking that the wrestling generation of today would rather be playing video games than being zooted to the hills and having their zooted to the hills and having their ass soaped in the shower by a colleague, or having their hotel door pounded on at 3 a.m. by an eventual murderer so they can get hazed. Well, holy over exaggeration, Sean. Look, dude, I respect the hell out of you and the work ethic that you have. But if this isn't an over exaggeration, I don't know what is. Or having their hotel door pounded on at 3 a.m. by an eventual murderer so they can get hazed. What's up, Queen? I believe that says Gemini. What's up, Queen Gemini? How are you? How you doing today? Hope you're well. I'm well. I'm on YouTube right now, so you can check me out over there on youtube.com/PWP Nation. Now, continuing, Sean, he goes, just paying the dues, I guess. Just paying. Now, this is typical Sean Ross Sapp. Look, I like Sean. Awesome, nice guy, works his ass off. One of the best in the wrestling reporting game, right? One of the best in the wrestling reporting game is Sean Ross Sapp. Here's another story from Sean. Shout out to the time Muhammad Hassan footed an airport bar tab for everyone there to make good with them, and the guys bought a shit ton of shots and poured them out to blow his money. Ha, ha, great rib for a guy who just got called up, guys. Okay, great opinion. I get it. Let's listen. Okay, so Lance LeBlanc goes, y'all taking his quote way out of hand. He's old, of course. He doesn't understand video games. He never condoned the bad shit that happened. Also, let's not act like bad shit still doesn't happen today. Sean goes, am I? Or are you taking my tweet way out of hand? All right. It's typical Sean. Like, look, Sean Ross Sapp is a good guy. He's a good guy. But he certainly, positively, absolutely, no question about it, knows how to push buttons. He does. He does. He knows how to push buttons, and that's just true. I'm going to tweet him right now. So I just added him to see if he'll jump in here and maybe talk to me about this if he's not doing anything. I'm sure he's busy. He's a busy fucking guy. So Lance LeBlanc, You bringing up a murderer that has nothing to do with him, but yeah, you're right. I'm out of hand. Him hazing people when men were men has plenty to do with him. Okay. All right, Sean. Like, look, I get it, man. I get what you're talking about. There was so much horrible shit that happened in the pro wrestling business. There was absolutely atrocious things that went down in the pro wrestling business from all angles for many years. But it's like Undertaker said shortly thereafter, it's like evolution. The business has evolved. The people in the business have evolved. There's different objectives. Money, it like at the end of the day, right? I truly believe in my heart and in my mind and in my soul that wrestlers aren't as driven by money. I'm not going to say every wrestler. Obviously, let me take a step back. It's not all wrestlers, just like obviously all wrestlers weren't hazing people and all wrestlers weren't doing this heinous, horrible shit he brought up. All wrestlers are no longer motivated by money. I think back in the Undertaker's days, you were motivated by money and money only. Now, the thing is, a lot of these guys, the video game people specifically, they are super motivated by money. Super motivated by money because and this is what Undertaker doesn't understand. What Undertaker doesn't understand is that these kids are making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars with their YouTube and Twitch channels. They are raking in the money, right? They are raking in the cash. And when I say hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, I'm not talking per year. I'm talking generally. Because in theory, if you're Austin Creed, aka Xavier Woods, and you've built a video game platform for yourself that not only is relevant while you're a wrestler, but will also be super relevant after you decide to hang up the boots, you, my friend, are literally creating a retirement plan for yourself. So that to me is genius. But what I do feel like is that Undertaker was not being a dick, was not being mean, was not trying to poke fun at anyone. He was giving his opinion. When men were men, the men of yesterday are different from the men today in a lot of ways. They were different men back then. It's like we can equate this to, let's equate it to sports. All right. Major League Baseball or the National Basketball Association or the NFL. 30 years ago, an NFL player like Patrick Mahomes did not exist. All right. There was a few that maybe would, throw like a little flash of greatness here and there. And I'm not talking about his race, by the way. So don't even pull that stuff on me if you're going to even think about that, if you're going to comment or watching this on the flip side, if anybody watches this anyway. It's not about his race. It's about the skill set involved. So 30 years ago, there was not a wrestler not an NFL player like Patrick Mahomes. The same way nowadays in the wrestling business, there is not another wrestler 30 years ago like Ricochet is right now. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but to me, it makes perfect sense. The business has changed. These are different men, different people. When Undertaker says when men were men, he's talking about the man of his generation. Those are the men. They're different men. It doesn't mean the men today aren't men. It's just a different version, a different style, a different generation of man than existed 30 years ago on a broad scale. Nick Houseman, a deep cut. Any other good comments here? I'm just getting into a bunch of nonsense. Yeah. But anyway, another interesting comment was that of Xavier Woods, Austin Creed, who made a great point, a really good point, which I will talk about. And here it is. Austin Creed on the Undertaker's comment, without saying this is the Undertaker's comment, but he goes, I wouldn't be the person that I am without the guidance and lessons of a few key people from the previous generation of wrestling. They taught me about the business to save my money and that having video games in the locker room is healthier than having redacted. Thank you, guys. Okay. So what Austin Creed is trying to say is that they've learned lessons from the previous era of wrestlers, the men that the Undertaker was referring to. They have to understand that the Undertaker is not in this new class. So something like this, like what Austin Creed said in his tweet, The Undertaker would probably completely understand that point, I would think, right? Because from what we know of The Undertaker, he was a drinker, didn't do much drugs or anything. You know, of course, he messed around with steroids like the rest of the guys did. Maybe he did some drugs, maybe he dabbled. I'm not sure. I don't know if he really talks about that openly. But we know he's up for a drink or two. And you know, whether there's alcohol in the WWE locker room nowadays or not, I don't know. I doubt it. I find it very, very hard to believe that there is like actively alcohol in the locker room, which was the case many years ago. And I have seen on the independents in the past as well, personally. I've seen alcohol in locker rooms. I've seen drugs in locker rooms. Ooh. But Austin Creed is right. But I don't believe The Undertaker is wrong. Okay? I don't believe The Undertaker's opinion is 100% wrong. And I don't feel like the over, I would say, overreaction by some people is appropriate. But hey, what do I know? Right? I don't know shit. I don't know anything. Undertaker took a photo with Rogan's dog. Let's look at some more reaction to this. Undertaker Rogan. It's hilarious that The Undertaker wasn't Rogan. Bemoaning the wrestlers today aren't men. You know, The Undertaker, the guy that spent 3 decades fake fighting and pretending to be a zombie that worked at a funeral parlor. These are the kind of overreactions I'm talking about. Bemoaning? What even bemoaning? What even is the definition of bemoaning? I've never even read that word. Present participle of bemoan. What even does bemoan mean? To express deep grief or distress over, to regard with displeasure, disapproval, or regret. Dude, that's not what The Undertaker was doing. That's not how I interpreted it. Joe Rogan asked Undertaker if he watches the product. He goes, I try, it's tough right now for me. The product has changed so much and it's kind of off. I'll probably piss a lot of people off, but they need to hear it. It is what it is. To the young guys who think he's a bitter old guy, I'm not bitter. I did my time. I walked away when I wanted to walk away. I just think the product is a little soft. These guys here and there that have an edge to them, but there's too much pretty and not enough substance, I think, right now. There's nothing wrong with that statement. There's nothing wrong with that. Where's the man state? Where's the men statement? I don't even know where that quote is. Where'd that quote go, damn it? Oh, here we go, right? Working with the guys. Wait, Stone Cold Legion. I don't know where that quote is. But anyway, back to Twitter. Trevor Dame, look, man, that's not bemoaning. He's not acting in disgust or anything like that or expressing regret. He didn't express any regret, displeasure, disapproval, deep grief, nothing of that happened. You're over exaggerating what happened, Trevor Dame. Over exaggerating what happened. What The Undertaker said. Yeah, here we go. Here's from Quadre BLM. Me at the people who are getting hurt and offended over what The Undertaker said on Rogan's podcast. Why so serious? Exactly. You get a like, my friend. You get a like because you are one of the few smart ones that I'm reading here on Twitter. For 8 straight years, I was doing 270 dates per year. Oh, and here comes Voices of Wrestling trying to rag on The Undertaker too. You know what? The wrestling community has become a fucking abomination. So this Voices of Wrestling dirty call it dirty sheet. I don't even know what Voice of Wrestling is. So this is where it's fucking hilarious. I don't know where he came up with 270. He repeated it multiple times, but he never worked more than 196 matches in a given year, usually about 160 at his peak. Dude, just because you have 270 dates on your calendar doesn't mean you're working 100, doesn't mean you're working 270 matches. This fucking people piss me off. I'm not even holding back anymore. Let's continue with this Undertaker reaction. What's up, TikTok, by the way, and what's up, my friends on the old YouTube machine? Hey, what's up, Squared Circle Countdown? Hello, how are you? Hope you're well. Hope you're well. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to get them down in there, and I will address them, obviously. So let's continue roasting these freaking dorks in the IWC who want to rip on the Undertaker. Because I'm not, God, the podcast was freaking amazing. The podcast was fantastic. Mostly positive. Look, what a great listen. That Joe Rogan Undertaker episode, maybe one of the best Rogan ever done. I could have listened to the Undertaker on Rogan talk 5 more hours. That was awesome. Just listen to Undertaker and Rogan. Man, I love Taker. Yeah. Here's this guy. Don't like that. Like, what is your problem? Oh, of course, an ESPN. So this guy, Adam Davis, claims he's an ESPN NFL insider. Plus, guess what? He's a he/him. He's a he/him. He needs to let us know that he's a he/him, that we shouldn't assume that this person's a he/him by looking at his face. We have to literally know that he's/him, whatever the fuck. So they have to account for promos, for the storylines, cinematic promos, etc. I'm great, my friend. Thank you so much. We chat often on Twitter. Okay, we do. Okay. I just listened to his appearance on Rogan. It was great. Yeah, dude. I agree, Squared Circle Countdown. It was a fantastic podcast. I love listening to it, right? I had a great time listening to the Rogan Undertaker interview. I even liked that What's His Nuts was there as well. What's the little dude's name that hangs out with Rogan? Why can I remember Tony Hinchcliffe? Why can I remember Tony Hinchcliffe's name? Also identify as dumb/fuck. That's right, Square Circle Countdown. That's right, Adam Davis. Get out of here. The Undertaker and Joe Rogan Experience is the exact kind of content I need during lockdown. So most of this stuff, Undertaker and Joe Rogan was pretty mids. Excuse me while I delete Spotify. Oh, you freaking dork. Look at this guy, San Cristo. What a nerd. Undertaker and Rogan is a dream come true. Let's find some more negativity. Where's all the negative stuff? One of the best guests. Good stuff. Not too terribly, but not terribly too enlightening of a conversation. Well, how enlightening do you want to get? Fun to mop? How enlightening do you want it to be? Fun to mop? You know? Yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe, I remembered. I picked it up off the top of my head, brother. Not many topics we didn't speak about. Great talk. Yeah, it was a great podcast, man. Let's see if there's other trending. I want to hear the negative. I want to see the negative ones so I can roast people. I already roasted. I didn't really roast Sean. I halfway agree with Sean. I mean, look, here we go. Here's the quote again. In that era of guys, too, those were men. You go into a dressing room nowadays, and it's a lot different. I remember walking into my first real dressing room, and all I saw were some crusty fucking men. Half of them had guns and knives in their bags. Shit got handled back then. Now you walk in, there's guys playing video games and fucking making sure they look pretty. It's evolution, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I just like those eras, man. I like when men were men. And if you cannot understand what the Undertaker means by saying that, if you can't wrap your head around what exactly the Undertaker means by saying this, he is not the problem. Okay? If you can't wrap your head around it, he is not the problem. Let's look at the reactions to this. Here's Mr. Coders. What the fuck? Why do you need guns and knives in the locker room at work? Mr. Coders. Mr. Coders. Okay, you follow me, so I'm not going to be too mean to you. But, dude, it was a different time back then. It was a different generation. You didn't know what territory you were going to, right? These are wrestling fans that don't understand the way the business used to work. And these are the wrestling fans who just don't get it. And that's fine. It's up to guys like me to inform them. I mean, it does go back to how soft he's... Oh, I lost it. Where did it go? It does go back to how soft he says it's become. They probably gaming because they ain't got shit else to do. Most of them come to work, but you're on live TV. Yeah, that's true too. Mary, to be honest, I disagree, but I don't blame him. That's how he grew up. Twitter needs to understand it shouldn't be a reason to cancel him. Yes, thank you, Mary. It was is Twitter really trying to cancel The Undertaker for this shit? Are they really trying to cancel him for this? Yes, if Bruiser Brody got pulled into a shower, right? He got pulled into a shower and got stabbed to death because they were talking about money stuff. Wrestle Critic disagrees with him. Here's Card Boy at WWE Card Basics. Disagree. That's called toxic masculinity. There's nothing wrong with guys playing games and making sure they look good. If I walked into a dressing room and saw guns and knives, I'd walk right out. See, this kind of... Now, I vowed when I was growing up that I would never become the old curmudgeon type of guy who was like, damn, in my day. But like, I would have never, ever thought like this. Me personally, there's nothing wrong with guys playing games and making sure they look good, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It is a part of the wrestling business. It's always been that way. And what Undertaker is referring to were his times on the independent scene in the 1980s, before he made it to the main event, before he made it to WrestleMania, before he made it to the WWE, probably even before he made it to the WCW. Even though in WCW, some of those crusty old men might have been there as well, that he refers to. Yeah, and here we go. Get the whole context of the conversation. This was misused. Correct. God, some of these people. Here we go. Here's a real gem right here. Mr. or Mrs. I Beast. I don't know who's behind this account, but this is a notorious wrestling troll. Yes, toxic masculinity is a wimpy term, squared circle countdown. It's the wimpiest of terms. It's something that I don't agree with, that most people don't agree with. Toxic masculinity was created, it's a term created by a bunch of fucking pussies. It's a term created by a bunch of little bitches. God, this is annoying. All right, back to this iBeast comment. He liked it when the work environment was rough. That's how he grew up in the business. But he needs to understand that the work environment today is less hostile and much more safer for talent, which is a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing. Look, Kev Castle is going to put this jabroni in his place because Kev Castle is a real OG of the wrestling radio media game. So let's see what Kev Castle's got to say. He understands that. Come on now. He was just telling stories from back in the day, similar to what many people's fathers and grandfathers do. His experience was his at a time where wrestling was much different. Wasn't saying it had to be that way now. This is all to do about nada. Thank you, Kevin Castle. Of course, you guys can see me tweet. Unbelievable. The overreaction is unbelievable. Let's scroll. Listen. Where'd it go? What am I doing? Do I know how to use this machine? Listen, learn, and move with the times, old man, or get left behind. Oh, shut the F up, AI Wrestling, you freaking jabroni Mark. You're damn right. You're damn right. He is right. Of course he's right. Well, that's exactly what fans want. Too much pretty, not enough substance, right? That's the way to escape reality nowadays. But who am I to say so, even if it is a fact untrue? Bubbity bubbity do. Whatever, man. Use the miscorrect gift. Yeah, you're right. I should, dude. Correct. It's just we're in a weird time, man. Everybody's so super sensitive nowadays. It's just the way the business he was brought up in, to be honest. He just needs to realize that things have drastically changed since he started out. That being said, this isn't going to change what I think about him as a person. Good comment. He could have worded it differently. He worded it perfectly. I don't take his comment personally after this is coming from a guy who was part of a different era of wrestling back in the day. All right. Excuse me. So, yeah, so we're going to go back to the feed. Undertaker, when he saw other wrestlers playing on their Nintendo Switches instead of shooting each other with guns, starting to push. This is so stupid. You know, if I could honestly say what my opinion is of some of the Twitter responses to the Undertaker's womp 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 quote on the Joe Rogan on the JRE, I would be banned in a split second. I'd like to think, here's one from the only MV Young. I like to think in an alternative dimension right now. I'm in a WWE locker room and the Undertaker's calling me a pussy for moisturizing while he applies his eyeliner. Like, I get it. I get it. People are just trying to come up with clever stuff. I get it, man. I get it. And this type of guy didn't listen. He definitely did not listen to the podcast. He definitely did not listen to the podcast. What is this? Oh no, it's not the Undertaker. Here we go. Here we go, poking at white wrestlers and wrestling personalities. I guess there's nothing wrong with what the Undertaker said. This generation is way too soft. They're nothing compared to the Attitude Era. And of course, we've got our perceived racists in the wrestling business. We've got Cody, Jericho, what's his face, Gunner. We got Hogan, Tammy, Brock, Tessa. Really don't know who that is with the sunglasses on. I can't really tell. And what's with the sunglasses and all the pictures? Is that supposed to be like, I don't understand this meme. I just don't understand it. Can somebody explain to me this meme, why it's all in this with sunglasses and why we're making fun of these people for their opinions? Like, I just don't get it. What, Lars Sullivan, Jerry Lawler, TJ Perkins, Austin Aries. Who even is that? I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who that is. There's Corey Graves. There's Jack Swagger. I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who any of these people are. These people, no idea. From here all the way over, no clue. Not even the slightest idea who those people are. Here we go with bemoaning again. Here's another. Here we go. Bemoaning again. And here's Jason Solomon, who's usually smarter than this. He's usually smarter than this. Just give me a goddamn break. If you don't understand what he was saying, I mean, he's joking around. I'm sure a lot of these people understand it. They get it, but they're joking around because that's what gets likes, right? Blah, blah, blah. Undertaker, when he sees up, down. See, we're just trying to get likes now. This is called just, the podcast was great. If you're a younger wrestling fan and your takeaway from the Undertaker and Rogan podcast was that he's a conservative rather than he's a guy who slept in his car and worked his way up from nothing in the business in order to break in and be a star, you're a Texas-sized herb. God. True, John. 100% true. John, that's true. True words. If you are a younger wrestling fan and your takeaway from The Undertaker on the Rogan podcast was that he's a conservative rather than he's a guy who slept in his car and worked his way up from nothing in the business in order to break in to be a star, your text, I agree. Here's, of course, my buddy Seahawk, who is, man, he's got a lot of opinions. Let me just say that. I can honestly say I did not wake up expecting to read that about the Undertaker's pre-annual Christmas twist test, but here we are. Okay, thank you, Bill. Bill Pritchard's a good guy, but again, just trying to be funny. We can agree with the Undertaker said in Joe Rogan's podcast. The current locker room is too soft. Some of these wimps might even live past 40. Ha 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 ha. Wow, man, you guys just don't understand what he meant. Either you don't understand what you meant or you're being blissfully ignorant. I'm going to go with blissfully ignorant. What do you think? I would respect and appreciate the Undertaker no matter what political position he had. That's right. Squared circle countdown. That's right. Appreciate the dead man. Appreciate the Undertaker. Why would we not? Why would we not appreciate the Undertaker and what he's done for this wrestling business? What he's done for many of our lives, man. I grew up loving, idolizing the Undertaker. That's just the truth. You know, I grew up loving the Undertaker, man. I was a diehard Undertaker fan. Still am. But I'm convinced that many of these people are just roasting and having a good time. Kind of the way he was, right? I mean, you could take it to another. Yep, here's Joe. Of course. You know, to take it to the extreme level of saying that you're saying that Undertaker is like halfway asking for the business to go back to the way it was. That's not what he's asking for, man. That's not what the Undertaker's asking for at all. Not in the least. It's overreactions all around. But Joe Cronin, of course, is right. Of course, Joe, you could always check out the Joe Cronin show. That's a buddy of mine. I will be the first one to admit that Joe Cronin is a good guy. All right. A lot of people give him a bad rap, but Joe Cronin is a good fucking guy. All right. This is pretty funny. When the Undertaker hears the sound of Mario Kart intro coming from outside of the gorilla position. Here's the truth, man. If the wrestlers in the Attitude Era, in the New Generation era, were playing video games, imagine if the Clique, imagine if Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Sean Waltman, instead of driving around from town to town talking about how they can take over the fucking business, they were sitting around playing Mortal Kombat all fucking day. Imagine that. Imagine if they were sitting around playing Mortal Kombat all day instead of talking about how they were going to branch off into two of the biggest factions of professional wrestlers that have ever formed in the business, in D-Generation X and the NWO. All right? We're getting crazy with the overreactions. Here, look at this guy. Can I be in the locker room with you, Undertaker? Yes or no? What are we doing? Like, I don't even know what's going on with this picture. Like, what are we doing, bro? Oh, man. Crazy times in the wrestling business. Thanks for joining me on TikTok and on YouTube. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love, appreciate the comments, appreciate all you guys that are joining me right here. Let's check out my notifications and see who's coming back to me. And we've got I'm just responding. I'm showing you guys how I respond. I'm just going to reply context. That's it. Context, bro. If you don't understand, hey, card boy, if you don't understand what context means in this sense, Chris Schneider says, get the whole context of the convo. This was misused. I say correct. He doesn't know what it means. Dude, you need to figure out What is going on with you, bro? Look at this guy. Look at this. Look at this. What is going on? Is this dude a he/him? No, he has two puppies. All right, you're in Jersey. Good for you, man. Look, bro, I'm not trying to be mean or roast you, but you got to understand what context means in the sense of this conversation. Let's see what other comments I have. Nothing. Oprah meme, whatever. I don't even know. Whatever, man. A lot of those are probably overseas live events. Yeah, that's true too. Look, if you're on the road, like when Undertaker says 270 dates per year, he's talking about being on the road. When you're on the road, you're on the clock, man, in the wrestling business. When you're on the road, you're on the clock. When you're on the road in the wrestling business, you are technically on the clock. So to say that, hand job motion, fuck, dude, are you kidding me? Voices of like, what even is this? Holy crap, they have a lot of followers. Good God. Man, they're crushing it. Good for them. Good for them. Yo, much respect to Voices of Wrestling. They're killing it. Oh, of course, they're sucking up to like Pro Wrestling Torch and stuff. I get it. They're doing well. Good for them, man. What? Oh, here we go. We're gonna go back to I'm not gonna jump into this Biden Trump stuff because this is what the media is gonna do. The media is gonna be roasting Trump still for as long as they possibly can because they don't know what else to do. Anyway, that's about it. I don't really have too much else for you guys. I kind of said what I had to say about The Undertaker. I can jump back onto my own. Oh, man, I got a lot of notifications on my own personal account. And just a lot of personal mumbo jumbo. Lots of love getting shot out there. You know, whatever, man. Couldn't get Sean's attention. Dude's probably busy. Dude's always super busy. But either way, here we are. Here we are, chilling. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Hey, Ed's in the building. What's up, Ed? Ed in the building. What's up, Ed? Ed's always jumping into my streams forever, man. Appreciate you, Ed. Appreciate you, bro. I the way I'm doing this, I don't have two monitors, so I'm not able to have the ability of other YouTubers where they can look at both monitors, look at the comments there. I'm only using one. I'm using my phone too, but I'm using my phone more just to broadcast on the TikTok. See if anybody out there in TikTok land. But Ed, thank you, man. Appreciate it. And Square Circle Countdown, thank you for joining me. This is still the early stages of the show. If you guys want, please feel free to subscribe, share, like. Helps out the channel a lot. I appreciate it. We're just still building up, starting to the rebuilding of PWP Nation. But I'll sign out. I've already been ranting and raving for about 45 minutes. So that's about it. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And I will talk to you soon. Probably tomorrow. Actually, definitely tomorrow. And also on TikTok. So follow me there. I'm out of here. Peace.